The house is burning. Only 2 of us made it out. There were 6 at the start of the evening. 7, I suppose. That was the entire problem. I don't know when the 7th arrived. Dina and Angelo showed up first while I was still putting out snacks. It must not have been there before then. I recall them being the first. It can't cover in not anything. Kay showed up next. I know she turned into by myself, due to the fact I've been trying to discern out the right time to invite her out. If she'd brought someone, I without a doubt might have noticed. When Christoph and Marina came, Angelo known as out. It's approximately time you 2 made it. He specified 2. I take into account that. That's 5 arrivals, and of path I changed into there all along. Maybe the door was opened at a few different points. It won't rely now that it is all over. I sense a door it does, although I want to apprehend what took place. I owe it to my pals. We had been gambling cards while we noticed. It was a 6 surpassed game, and Angelo turned into dealing piles in front of each player. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th to himself. "You've got too many piles," Dina said. Angelo checked out the table in confusion. There have been cards in front of every people. There were 7 separate stacks. Weird. "I do not know what occurred there," he said, collecting up the playing cards. He dealt them out once more. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, to anyone. He had no longer but placed a card out in the front of him. With a fearful giggle, Angelo said, "Okay. What am I doing wrong? 6 folks. Yes." We all agreed. There were surely 6. "Everyone positioned your hand on the card," he stated. All 6 playing cards were covered. Angelo nevertheless did no longer have one. "All proper. 1 extra attempt," stated Angelo. "While you are sorting this out, I'm going to the toilet," said Kay, standing up. She left the room. Angelo dealt the cards. 1, 3, 4, and a 5th to himself. 4. "Kay, how many humans are you?" he shouted. "Very funny," she called again. "We heard the restroom door near. Just deal 6 arms," I advised Angelo. "There are 6 of us. It'll exercise session. Everyone will select 1 hand up and play it, and no one might be omitted." "You'd truly think so," he stated. "But why was I getting to 7 before? You're horrific at math," Dina told him. "Better now not will let you maintain the score," Christoph chimed in. Kay's chair became scooted lower back up to the table. Angelo dealt the playing cards. There had been 6 arms this time. Everyone picked one up. No one turned into neglected. "Weird," said Angelo, shaking his head. Despite the rocky start, the game went well. Christoph gained. In order punishment, we dispatched him to the kitchen to fetch more beverages. Just after he disappeared into the opposite room, I heard a startling noise. A sort of short, choking gasp, accompanied by way of a noisy bang. I turned into just getting up to look if he became very well, whilst the wine became introduced to the table, and I busied myself pouring absolutely everyone a clean glass, rather. I noticed that Kay's glass became nevertheless untouched from earlier. "Hey, in which is Kay?" I requested. "She went to the restroom," stated Dina. "What? Again? I guess." I leaned my head around the corner to see down the hallway. The lavatory door became closed. I intended Marina became proper. "Shall we deal any other hand?" I requested. "As soon as Christoph gets returned," stated Marina. I regarded around. Christoph wasn't right here. Where did he go? "The kitchen," stated Marina. "The wine did not carry itself in right here," I mentioned, and all 5 of the new glasses had been moved. Marina gasped. "Are you suggesting that someone is consuming Christoph's wine?" We all laughed. I did surprise wherein Christoph become, even though, and Kay for that be counted. She'd been within the toilet for a very long time. She could not were, though. We'd performed the sport, 6 surpassed. She have to have been right here. Maybe she simply wasn't consuming. Quick round of spades while we're anticipating the ones to get back, asked Angelo, dealing out the cards. You've dealt 5 palms, Dina pointed out. Angelo slammed the playing cards down at the desk. Okay, something's going on right here. Everyone, preserve arms. We all checked out him quizzically. He became severe. We reached out and took every other's arms, forming a circle across the desk. Now, so as. Everyone say the name of the character in your left. My name became stated. I seemed left and stated Marina, Dina, Angelo. And I'm subsequent to Scott, Angelo said, nodding at me. Wait, I objected. My name changed into already said. Let's go to the proper then, he said. Angelo's call changed into Sayid. He observed it with Dina, Marina, Scott, and Angelo, I stated. No, I was named first, he said. We looked at each other. I should sense his hand in mine. I ought to see him next to me. Look at the desk, Angelo said. Why is there an additional glass of wine in between us? Let's take a photo, stated Marina. Then we can see all and sundry without delay. She positioned her phone at the desk. We all sponsored up, placed our hands round each different, and smiled. The picture snapped. We gathered returned around the desk to look. It's you, me, you, and you, said Marina, pointing. 4 of us, no one else. Angelo studied it for a second. It's not a selfie. Who took the picture? Christoph, stated Marina. K, I stated inside the equal moment. We all appeared around the room. Neither one of them become right here. He ought to nevertheless be inside the kitchen, stated Marina. I'll cross a sea. I think we should all move together, stated Angelo. Come on. We entered the kitchen as a set. It become empty. Do you scent gas? Requested Dina. My interest snapped to the range. 2 of the knobs for the burners have been snapped off. I noticed them tucked underneath the shelves close by, as if a person had pushed them out of the manor in order now not to be observed. There became a dent in the metallic of the edge, too. Christoph ought to have dropped something on the range, I said, heading over to see about turning off the gasoline. Nice of him to say it. The knobs have been broken too a long way down to turn. The fuel turned into beginning to provide me a headache. I grabbed a maintain of the stove to drag it out from the wall and close off the line at the back of it, but it turned into extraordinarily heavy. Did I go away something in right here? I requested, establishing the oven door. Christoph's body became filled inner. The limbs bent and folded lower back on themselves with the intention to make it in shape. A gory pool of blood filled the bottom of the oven, sloshing distressingly back and forth from my tries to move the appliance. Most of it regarded to have come from his head, which had been violently crushed. His eyes bulged outward, looking at me. I screamed of Path. We all did. I turned away to run, to discover a weapon, likely just not to look it anymore. And Dina died. Her throat was ripped open. It wasn't when I became returned, and then it changed into. Nothing did it. It just came about. Her hands flew as much as clasp her ruined neck. However, it became a ways too overdue to preserve whatever in. She collapsed to her knees. Her hair turned into held, returned as she died, maintaining her upright and dealing with a head, so we may want to all see the panic and depression. We were all frozen for a second. Angelo moved first, diving for her. But by the point he wrapped his fingers around her, she turned into slumping forward, already long gone. He screamed a raw caterwaul of rage and pain. After a second, he focused it into words. Where is it? What did this? I grabbed a knife and positioned my lower back right into a nook, looking round frantically. Marina turned into gone. I was hoping that she had run. I didn't like that I failed to recognize. "It's been right here all night time," Angelo hissed, "among us, playing with us." Where's Kay? Where has she been all night time? The bathroom, I notion. But I pictured Christoph's broken body in the oven, and I knew that I didn't want to open the door to check. Angelo endured his rant, his voice cracking in his fury. "We can't see it. We cannot recognize about it. You and I concept we were conserving hands while it became among us. This is all a game to it. We do not know a way to play. We cannot even see the board. We were given to get out, Angelo," I stated. "It's no longer safe to be in here. Even without anything's going on, the stove's nonetheless leaking gas." "It is," he stated, and his voice changed into suddenly eerily calm. "Everywhere. And you understand. It truly is a very appropriate way to address something you can't see. What are you doing, Angelo?" He fumbled in his pocket and pulled out a lighter. "The again door's proper there, Scott. Run, and near it behind you. Don't stop going for walks whilst you're outdoor. Angelo, I'm sorry about your house. Scott, run." I took a step toward him, and he pulled the lighter in the direction of his body. "Go. If you don't go now, I'll do it whilst you're nevertheless in here. I probably must, anyway. It's a better way to make sure." He flicked the lighter. It sparked. I fled for the door. Behind me, I ought to hear him flicking the wheel again. I made it outdoor before the kitchen exploded. I had my hand on the knob pulling the door close, while a roar of heat and light slammed the door shut and flung me down the steps onto my back lawn. The home windows erupted in gouts of flame, pelting me with burning hot glass. I scrambled across the grass, desperate to get further away. My lower back was burning, and I rolled to put it out. The house is truly a loss. However, I known as the fireplace branch anyway. I didn't recognize what else to do. I do not know what I'll inform the police after they discover our bodies inside. I do not even recognize what number of they will find. If Angelo got it, anything it changed into, then there'll be as a minimum 4 our bodies. Him, Dina, Christoph, and the opposite. Probably 5, assuming it were given K early on. Maybe 6, if Marina did not make it out. One of them should have, even though. I'm not by myself out here. My hand is held tightly as I watch the house burn.